the AWS outage, JuiceJacking, Apple's value, and the Steve Jobs coin. This is MacVoices. This edition of MacVoices is supported by the new MacVoices Discord, available to all of our MacVoices patrons. Sign up and join in the conversation in your new favorite online group at patreon.com/MacVoices. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. And this is MacVoices Live on YouTube at youtube.com/MacVoicesTV. We do this every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. I try to get it started at 8 p.m. Certain members of the panel just seem to be completely opposed to that idea. So we're a little bit late tonight.
I blame Jim.
If you want to know why, then you need to subscribe to After Dark and see, because it can just be indescribable. But I will describe who's here tonight, and then we're going to get to a whole lot of really interesting things, a lot of Apple news tonight, and a few other things as well. Dave Ginsburg is in the top left of my screen. Dave, good to have you.
Good to be here. So glad to be here. And I just wanted to make sure that we all say congratulations on 20 years of doing MacVoices. Congratulations.
Ooh, nice.
What a ride. I got 10 years of those 20, but yeah, I want to make sure I say congratulations to you, Chuck, and what an amazing ride it's been here.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun. Yes, MacVoices turned 20 on this past Saturday. We had Doug Adams of Doug Scripts back as our guest. He was a guest on the very first MacVoices, so it sort of brought it the whole way around, and made it a lot of fun that way. So
yes,
yeah. So check that out, because Doug described a really interesting music project that he put together. And that's as far as I'm going to go, because I would not want to steal Doug's thunder. But yeah, it was fun.
There you go.
Brian Flanagan-Arthurs is here. Brian, we thought you might be late, but you're right on time, and it wouldn't have mattered because this crew ran us late. So good to have you.
Great to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Marty Gensius is here as well. Marty, good to see you.
It's good to be here. It's been a hell of a week. Everything turned out well, and that's all I'll say about it. I'm really happy to be here.
I'm happy that everything turned out well, and I'm happy you're here. Jim Ray is here, still with his rather unique background. Jim, it's good to have you as always.
I have to tell you, it's totally worth signing up for After Dark.
Thank you. Yeah, again, it's hard to believe at times. Eric Bolden is back out of the woods. This time he's brought with him a flock of something. Eric, good to have you. And what are you flocking?
It's a flight of dragons. I was in the woods. I came across them all. Oh, no, really. It's sandhill cranes. But it kind of looks like a flight of dragons, doesn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
Flock, Eric.
I'll buy it. Jeff Gammon is back also. He couldn't be here last week, but he's made it this week. Jeff, good to have you back. Missed you.
It's really great to be back. And every time you let me back on the show, I'm genuinely surprised, but thank you.
You're more than welcome, and I'm sometimes surprised myself.
I was going to say, you're not the only one surprised.
No, that's fair.
Mr. Microphone is here as well. Guy Cyril.
Hi.
It's good to have you.
Thank you. Are you sure about that, Chuck? Is that a true statement?
The Mr. Microphone, or the glad to have you?
Glad to have me. Glad to have
yes. They're both true. They're both true.
I'm doing good. Feeling fine. Happy.
That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it.
There could be trouble tonight.
Well, there already has been.
Yeah, true.
Last but absolutely not least, Mr. Webb Bixby is here. Webb, I'm glad you showed up for your weekly dose of therapy.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. I did see that the traditional 20th anniversary gift is China. So if you got a new iPhone, there's your gift to yourself.
That's good.
Okay.
I feel really awkward now. I misunderstood. I bought Chuck a country.
Yeah. Well, the first one I wanted to get to tonight is something that probably everybody in the world knew about yesterday. And I'm just delighted because my first thought was, what about MacVoices Live on Tuesday night? There was a major internet outage that took out a whole lot of major companies and major services. I don't know if any of you were affected. I had minimal effects for things that I really needed to do, but there were more than minimal inconveniences. And so it looks like Amazon, it was because of Amazon Web Services, it looks like it's been resolved, at least largely. I haven't heard of anything today that any residuals that were still complaining about it. Did anyone?
Yeah.
I had
Well,
actual
Yeah, I did.
Oh, really? Okay.
Wow.
Oh, a lot of you did. Let's see.
Web.
I think I heard you say something.
We are, among other things, our call center software went down for this, and it took out, because of that, took out our 800 numbers. They were down for bulk of the business day, but by about 7, 8 o'clock last night, they came back online and everything was fine today. So, but it made me question our call center software vendors. Only because you would think that they would have some redundancies that, because as I understand, this AWS failure was really focused on kind of a server bank, if you will, on the East Coast. And you'd think they would have, had some redundancy built in, and they didn't. And I'm asking why. So, and I'm in a really bad mood today. So, so I'm ready. I'm ready to eat people again. So.
Okay. Web, the only response I'll have to that is that I would, if what you describe is the case, I would have thought a lot of the organizations that were affected would have had redundancy that should have kicked in. And
Yeah.
so either they don't, or the outage was a lot more, robust. I don't know what the word is. Robust. That's a good word. Yeah. Robust than we expected.
I blame Microsoft there. I said it.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, Chuck, the problem with the lack of redundancy, I mean, it's a big thing. In many cases, like in Webb's case, yeah, you'd expect the redundancy to be there. But for a lot of organizations, it just, for whatever reason, doesn't happen. I started experiencing the problem on Sunday night, and I didn't know what the problem was because it was like just starting. And it was streaming content from Paramount wasn't working. And here's how lame I can be. I was watching Star Trek episodes on Sunday night. I watched an episode of whatever, and then I'm like, oh, I'll go watch this other Star Trek series. And it didn't work. So I picked a different series, didn't work. Pick a different show on Paramount, didn't work. I was just getting errors. And then after a while, I realized, oh, Paramount streaming is down. That's weird. Then the next day I found out, oh, well, there you go. Here's the problem. But here's how crazy it is for lack of redundancy. Amazon, they didn't have redundancy for some of their own services.
Yep.
Like on Monday morning, I tried to set an alarm using an A-Lady speaker or timer using an A-Lady speaker. And because nothing is done on device, it failed because it couldn't go out to the AWS server and process everything it needed for a 5-minute timer and then send it back to the device.
Yeah,
things fail.
I had that same thing, Jeff, with the A-Lady on, I guess it was the afternoon, after a lot of things had come back, but that still was, I think the message was something like, I'm having trouble now, try again in a few minutes. So,
yeah. And I couldn't work on part of a client project because the websites that I needed to go to for the information were down because AWS was down. But back to Webb's thing, the companies that Webb's company is paying to manage these services for him or provide these services, it's their responsibility to make sure those services work. And their failure to have some level of redundancy so that services that Webb's company pays a lot of money for would work, and they're critical services. So I totally get it, Webb, why you're ready to crack skulls and are asking serious questions.
But aren't those companies paying Amazon for redundancy? I mean,
No, they are not.
Oh,
And it doesn't matter anyway, because he's not, he's not contracted to Amazon. He's contracted to this other company that's
The software
providing
company.
service.
well, I'm not saying that helps Web, but at some point, this was a huge outage. And by the way, my experience was that I had packages that didn't show up. I was supposed to get deliveries yesterday morning. And
Back to
Yeah, that
UPS and
was-
FedEx.
well, no, from Amazon.
Oh, Amazon. I thought. Okay.
It was like, I ordered something the night before, and it was like, yeah, it's going to show up by 7 a.m. And then later they said it wasn't going to show up till today. I got an email yesterday afternoon saying it won't come till Tuesday afternoon, but then it did show up last night. But
Yeah. I had the same issue with, I'm sorry, Jim.
well, I was just going to say, I think companies that use AWS basically assume that AWS has built-in redundancy on its own, and at a certain point, enough stuff goes down. There's only so much redundancy you can have. Redundancy costs money, so you can get as much as you pay for, I guess.
Like everything,
but-
like everything else.
like everything. But I mean, there's not enough server capacity and internet capacity in the world to have two of everything.
Marty?
Yeah, I wasn't thinking about the outage yesterday, but I started getting notifications like Jim that packages were going to be late. And then I decided to lay down and take a nap in the afternoon and asked the A lady to set a timer for 60 minutes and took a nap, and the alarm, and it took me a while to get the A lady to agree to that. I thought, okay, this is weird. But she finally said yes, and 60 minutes later, the alarm went off, but I could not turn it off. So she fell out of a 2-story window.
Serious question: why are all these Apple users on this call using A lady for?
Because we need a platform that
Timers.
actually works, except for this time when it didn't.
Yeah, the other thing that happened was I'm on a Zoom call with a couple of other faculty at other institutions, and I'm saying, hey, yeah, our Canvas, which is the learning management system that we use, is down. And they're like, ours is down to all three of them using the same piece of software at different locations. And not thinking that it was tied to AWS services, but it obviously was as part of the backbone. That we couldn't get into our learning management system, and nor could our students. And that I taught last night till 7:30, and it still was off in terms of the availability of it. So.
And there were pieces on the news, I guess at some universities, this must have been midterms week. And, the students were freaking out because they couldn't use the resources, and they had papers coming due and projects coming due. So, it really does demonstrate just how, I'm not ready to say fragile, but just how interdependent everything has become.
Yeah.
So, and maybe this, I don't know, Webb, it'll be interesting to hear you, if you'll report back to us, because not that we want to, string anybody up here in particular, but just, is this something people need to start asking about? That if something goes down, what kind of redundancies do you have in place?
Well,
And do you have different levels of service that provide different levels of redundancy?
And that's the exact question I want to talk to the vendor about. Is this redundancy that when we subscribe to the service and being a cloud-based service, and they do this, you would think they'd have the redundancy. Now, maybe there was some glitch that even the redundancy failed. I'm not sure in this particular case with this particular vendor. But we had some other systems that we use AWS for, and they were fine. Okay, so it wasn't just everything that we touch with Amazon Web Services, and it's not everything that we do. It wasn't all critical, but our phone call center software that basically is the way that our customers reach out to me. I got 500,000 policyholders, and and I'm in the life insurance business. When they're calling me, sometimes they're having a very bad day, probably the worst day of their life, because they've lost somebody dear to them, and I just can't have that. So I'll be talking to the vendor. Not tomorrow. I put the request into my IT folks, and we'll see what happens. They're not going to refund me or anything. They're going to sit there and apologize. And I'm just going to ask, how do you handle redundancy? That's my only question. It's the only thing I can do. I could change to another vendor, but that doesn't happen overnight. I'd rather fix the problem than create a whole new one. So anyway, I'll get off of it. So
No. We should let you know, the Webb, that just until about the last two sentences there, you sounded a little bit like you were on helium. Yeah. I don't know why. And then it cleared up. So maybe the fact that you were criticizing someone. Yeah. So I don't know if Eric.
We were getting comments coming back that there were redundant systems, but the software that was used to trigger the switch over to the backup system was reliant on AWS. So the switch couldn't happen because the thing that was watching for the service not to work to say switch to something else wasn't working. The other one was the ticketing system has, especially when they're merging a bunch of departments together, they combine the ticketing system, and then there's an AWS scripting process that looks at the email to figure out how to route the ticket. And that didn't exist, so people could submit tickets. It just didn't actually make it to the right group.
Interesting. I would point out, and I've not heard anyone write this up or anything, but all the online backup systems that so many organizations have that go to the cloud, does that mean that, for that period of time, their information was not being backed up? And is there now a hole in their backups? I don't know. So,
Chuck, the companies that are relying on cloud services for their data, they should never have a hole in their backup, regardless of what goes offline. So they need to have a backup system that takes the data that's being stored on the cloud server and have it backed up to a different system. So, let's say AWS goes down. Okay, your Azure backup is still happening, or whatever you're using. You never assume that the one cloud backup you're doing is sufficient.
Yeah. And yet, too many organizations do.
Yeah. Well, and they should also have a backup somewhere else that's completely independent of all
on-site and off-site. If it's not in three places, it doesn't exist.
There you go.
Versioned and offline versions too. It's periodically. Yeah. It's amazing how many people don't have these things, and how tough is it with an organization like the size of Webb's or David's. You might not be able to just take a hard drive and walk it down to the safe deposit box at the bank, but a lot of companies could do just that, and don't.
And this isn't the first time this has happened, so it's something that kind of bothers me, because so many companies are reliant on AWS, and like I said, I guess in this case this was a DNS resolution issue from what I just read in relation to what this outage was caused, and if, of course it's in guy's home state of up in Northern Virginia, there where it happened. So, but it just blows my mind that as big of a company as Amazon and as big of an important service like AWS, why could this happen multiple times? I think they need to get to the bottom of this, really.
Well, what I'm more interested in isn't so much, how long it went on. I'd like to know how and why it happened.
Right. And that was my point.
Both Social Security and Medicare were down at the same time.
Yeah.
And this is the open period for enrollment. And a lot of people who are struggling just to get through it when it actually works must have been freaking out, because my wife came up to me and was asking me about it. And, you could not log in to Social Security. You could not log into Medicare. And, and these are government systems. And I know from my time in the government, they used to have their own servers, but as a cost cutting feature, they have gone to, and I won't say what they are, but it's pretty easy to figure out. They have gone to outside sources to store and distribute all of their data now, including sensitive information. And when this all first happened, and this was 5-6 years ago, I was kind of like, oh my God, are you kidding me? And no, they were not kidding me. So this is where we are. And if a critical part of the infrastructure, as far as server systems goes down, well, then everyone is screwed. And and fortunately, well, I don't know how fortunate it is, with the government being shut down, we don't really know how widespread it was beyond the couple of services that I mentioned.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, I guess the only good news here is that it does not appear that it was a hack of any kind, that it was a mistake in code or as Dave said, a DNS lookup issue. But it just goes to show you that, the wrong thing happens in the wrong place, and you can bring a lot of the U.S. economy and the global economy to its knees.
Yep.
So, on that happy and cheery note, Macworld published this article, and this is somewhere along the lines of one of our usual PSAs, but it's not like an urgent thing. And I didn't know this was there until I saw this article. But iOS 26 has a new iPhone setting that they want you to turn on immediately. I would say review it immediately, that prevents or potentially prevents JuiceJacking. And when I went and looked at it, it's not turned on automatically. So I put the setting so that anything I plug into my phone is going to ask me for permission to connect to it first. And I really like that idea, because I am very, very hesitant. In fact, I do not plug into power sources that I don't know anything about, because I don't know if they also might be trying to connect to my phone and take data. But it's nice to see Apple address this issue with something other than just an annoying, I'm going to warn you every time, no matter what you tell me. I don't know. Did anybody else change their setting based on this, or?
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, I am too. Yeah. I didn't even realize this. Yeah.
And this is one I would tell everybody, just take a look at, because there's always that temptation. Oh, I'm at a friend's house, or I'm at a, somewhere that is not here. And here's a jack. Yeah, I'll just plug in and, top my phone off a little bit. And you just don't know.
Yeah, I just opened mine, and it defaults to automatically allow when unlocked.
Yeah.
Right.
And you have to switch it to always ask.
Right.
Or ask for new accessories.
Yeah. Which is what I did, Guy. Because yes, I know I have different things that I plug into regularly, and I'd rather not be annoyed. But if I'm plugging into
plug it into your car every single time, and it gives you
Yeah.
that pop-up. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes CarPlay doesn't work anyway, so why have the extra frustration there?
Yeah.
But what's going to happen with this when you're at an airport and you're almost out of power, and the thing that this doesn't do is tell you if there is a potential issue with whatever it is that you're plugging into. I mean, if you're just plugging into something and it's supposed to be just power, then why isn't any other process being identified as, or flagged as being a potential issue?
I would speculate that Apple doesn't want to take that kind of responsibility, because then someone's going to say, my phone got hacked and you were supposed to warn me. This way, it just makes you the failure point. If you decide to say, oh, it's okay, go ahead, that's on you.
It could also be because there is communication even when all you're doing is plugging in for power, because your phone has to negotiate what voltage it can take and all that. So maybe it's related to that. On a side note, I looked on one of my devices that has a Lightning port, and the setting there is automatically allow when unlocked, and that's the default. The other option is always allow.
That's
So
it
for Lightning. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
Marty?
wonder if I'm asking the group. I mean, instead of carrying a USB plug to charge, if you carried something like a MagSafe charger, would that resolve the problem of someone hacking your data?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no data going through the MagSafe connection,
Right,
to
yeah.
the best of my knowledge.
Well, you can get little USB things that only have data.
Yeah.
And also, aren't you carrying an AC adapter? Plug into a
You should be,
110. That's there's not going to be any problem if you do that.
My wife calls those biscuits. I don't know why.
You know what? I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah.
Biscuits.
Of course, that's assuming you can find a power outlet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Are you more likely to find a USB-C jack than a power outlet?
I always carry a USB A to USB-C as well as dual end USB-C.
Yeah.
Is Webb holding?
I don't know.
Webb is at the ready.
Webb's holding up biscuits? Is that
Charge your phone before you leave the house.
Yeah.
And Jim, though, you ask a fair question, but I see more and more in airports and different places. I see USB jacks to plug your cable into, so that theoretically you don't have to carry that little biscuit. And so,
Here's an idea: carry a little battery pack, plug the battery pack into the USB, and then later plug the battery pack into your phone.
Assuming the battery pack doesn't catch fire.
But it's not gonna impact your data. I don't care about fires.
Good.
At an airport.
On a plane.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's only charging. Ignore the stuff.
Nothing to see here. Move along.
Move along. Where's my free snacks?
You know what?
Yeah, but take doing that at 30,000 feet,
Take a paper notebook. Don't take your phone.
Why don't you just go back to stone tablets, Jim?
Tablets.
So solves the
On
whole
a plane?
Living.
Yeah. They'll love you for your carry on. So I don't know if you've been paying attention to the stock market recently, but Apple has been on a real run. And that goes hand in hand with the next story, that is Apple remains the world's most valuable brand in 2025. And this is for the 13th consecutive year, with an estimated brand value of $470.9 billion.
Yeah, a suggestion for who else it should be?
Sorry,
Jim?
yeah. Say,
Who else it should be?
Yeah. Do you have a suggestion for, of course it's Apple.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, the survey loses a little bit of credibility when it says that second place is Microsoft.
Well, okay, you're looking at it the wrong direction, but I get what you're saying, and I appreciate the jab. Well done. But this is primarily just based on numbers.
Sales
So,
or profits?
yes.
Ah,
Like, yeah, how much do they sell? What is their profit? Um, so, um, when you look at what Microsoft is doing overall, regardless of how much none of us want to use Teams, Microsoft is a very big company that brings in a lot of money, and they have been a very high performer for a while.
Yeah.
especially as they've moved to services instead of just an operating system.
Yeah.
Amazon, Google, and Samsung rounded out the top 5. So, that's. I don't think there are any real surprises there from that angle, but I was more impressed by the 13th consecutive year. That, I guess maybe we say that every year and then you forget, but it was
You
nice.
forget about the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a tough time.
Yeah.
But hey, we had clones.
Good times. Hey, Chuck, what I find interesting about this is that we don't see petroleum companies.
The world has changed. The world has changed. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you MacVoices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CacheFly at cachefly.com.